Hello there, Scorpio. Welcome to your monthly reading. This is for the month of August. I hope you're doing great. It's so good to see you again. This month, I'm going to try something unique here at the beginning. We'll still have our regular format, but I wanted to add something extra special because I know you guys just came through a retrograde cycle. And now, for the most part, everything is in the clear. There is a little bit of a shadow right now, and that's what I want to talk about and help you through at the beginning of this forecast. Don't let the name freak you out or anything. What this period is just really like 7 to maybe 14 days where there might be some effects that you've been feeling from the retrograde cycle that you came through, and you have a chance now to resolve that. And you can also use this time to set forth any new goals or dreams or aspirations that you would like as well. And generally speaking, with a little bit of care and just being focused and optimistic, I find that a retrograde shadow can be a fantastic time to really create a new shift in your life. It's malleable energy, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. So as I was meditating on all 12 signs and picking up how you could deal with this brief shadow period, again, it's just a week or two, what I saw were two images. The first thing was the moon itself, and I felt myself very much drawn into the energy of the moon. It was divine feminine energy, and I got this sense that I would be okay, but the subtle energy was drawing me to look at things that I needed to deal with. So for you, this could be a fear. Some of you could even be a hope. It could also be something that you had pushed under the rug and just thought, I'm not going to worry about this. If it comes up, it comes up. This month, what I'm getting as a message for you is it's actually going to come through in your regular channeled message, but getting ahead of the curve and taking advantage of right now, being proactive on that is going to be key. Because if you don't, then later what happens is this kind of blows up in a bigger way. So I want you to take some time and meditate at the beginning of this month, and don't allow for something to get bigger than it needs to. And in my meditation, what I saw was you could kind of like put your hand up towards the moon and hold it. And it's almost like what you would see in the Two of Wands where they're holding the earth. You can manage whatever your fears are. You can create whatever you're trying to bring into life if you have like a dream or a hope or an aspiration, and you have more power than you think. The imagery and the energy of the moon works, however, in subtle ways. So you may be getting messages through daydreams, through your dreams, just as a thought that kind of is persistently in your head. It may not come through as clairvoyance or a clairaudient message. So be very aware and open to how the universe wants to communicate to you this month. The second thing that came through in the general meditation for all signs was the energy of the magician, which basically showed me that once you overcome your fears, you're going to become a clear channel and a natural conduit for creativity. And also that's a healing card for me. So if there's anything in your life, maybe it's some sort of an internal pain, something from the past, or even if you're trying to help the world and do something of service, once you get past your fear, your anxiety, really there's no holes barred. And I feel like you're going to have all these opportunities in front of you. It could be very exciting as well. So that is how you can overcome the retrograde shadow and really make the best of it, take advantage of it, use it as sort of a sandbox to create something new, okay? So now let's talk about my regular forecast and format. First of all, I'd like to say welcome back to everybody who's been a loyal follower for the past 4 or 5 years. It means so much that you've continued to grow with me and you've been there for every step of the way. So I love you, I appreciate you, and thank you so much. If you're brand new, I'd like to give you a warm welcome and just let you know who I am and how I organize this. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and the way that I organize readings are as follows. I like to begin with channeled information, and I'll be doing sign-specific channeled information in just a moment, so please stick around for that. And after that, I use a regular Celtic Cross and take a look at all of the information coming through for your sign. And as I do this, it's going to be very organic, just like the channeled information. So what I like to do is after that, I expand the forecast and I look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And unlike a lot of other mediums and psychics online here, I just provide all of this as one big forecast. You don't have to go to Vimeo or anything like that to view this. So I hope you enjoyed. It's a nice deep dive in what's available. And if you like what you see here, I'd love for you to stick around until the end. At that point, I do a really nice, concise summary. I give you a closing word. I also let you know how you give back. This is a fan-supported site, so if you can give back, please do, because it makes everything possible. I have a lot of ways you can do that, anywhere from just, of course, liking and subscribing to joining me on social media. If you want to come to me for a one-on-one appointment, you could do that as well. And I also welcome contributions, either through Patreon, through here on YouTube, the join button, and I also have a special part of my website where you can do a one-time or a continuing contribution. So again, stick around until the end. I'll get into much greater detail about that at that point, but right now I have a lot of information coming through me, and I really want to talk about what's available to you through the channeled information for the month of August. By the way, one thing that I forgot to mention is that you can always use this for your sun, your rising, and your moon sign. You can also watch on behalf of someone that you care about in your life. And if you don't happen to know all three of those things, your sun, your rising, and your moon, just stick with the sign that you were born under, and you'll get all the information that you need by doing that. All right, now let's get into your channeled information. As I selected a deck of cards and meditated for you, there were a couple of images that came through. The first and the most prominent one for me was the image of a stopwatch, and I felt the kind of acceleration of time coming through, and a message that time management was going to be really essential. And I also felt an opening in my throat chakra, which told me that this could be averted or at least kind of neutralized a bit just by communicating concerns, asking questions, making sure that you had all of the information. As I alluded to way back in the beginning, really proactivity is going to be key, particularly when it comes to looking at what's on your schedule or your priority list, and then communicating any concerns that you have. Your intuition is going to be very strong this month. You should be sensing things on all levels. It may not come through clairaudiently or clairvoyantly, but you may have this sort of primal knowledge that you need to do something. You may have some sort of a feeling when you meet someone, that gut instinct. I want you to really pay attention to that. Think of what you would see on the moon card itself, and it's that combination of, you know, what you're programmed to do and what you really know. This month, it's what you know that you want to listen to, because it will never lead you astray. That's your sort of like secret map to getting past a hurdle. Honor it, use it, act upon it as soon as it comes through you, and you'll be okay. Because what I saw was the magician again when I was looking way back at the beginning at all signs. There is an energy for everybody this month to be able to manifest, to move past, and also to kind of handle anything that comes through. So I have a lot of faith in your ability this month. All that's important is that you have really good sort of psychic reflexes, if you will. That proactivity is going to be your best friend. Speak up, and then also prioritize everything, and when you take advantage of the right timing opening up, you're going to be okay. All right? This is a good segue into looking now at what the cards have to say for the month ahead. So at this point, I'm going to give the cards a shuffle, lay out the Celtic Cross. I like to remain quiet at this point, but afterwards we'll take a look at each and every card and relate it to how it's going to be important for you in the month ahead. In the Catalyst position this month, we have Valiant Courage, Take Action with Passion. The message here is that there's going to be some prep work that you have to do in advance of whatever it is or wherever you're going here when we're looking at this card. So this could indicate that some of you have a really big discussion that you have to have with a family member, a coworker, somebody in your life that you really care about. And before you go there, you want to have all of your talking points together so that you just feel internally, I have this, basically. And the courage comes from preparation, and the preparation kind of melds together with your confidence. So there's a couple of forces at work to kind of help you out, and it's all about the sort of preparation and pre-work that you're going to do before you actually go somewhere. So do the homework, sit down and really get to know whatever it is that you want to talk about with someone. Maybe do a practice run as well, especially if this is something where it could be like a proposal, whether it's at work or you're going to ask someone to marry you, or again, maybe you're sharing a part of your life that is difficult to share, whether it's like a literal coming out or you just want to say, hey, I'm excited about doing this. What do you think? And by the way, as I say that, I'm going to give you a little piece of knowledge that will help you. If it is sort of an idea that you want people to buy into, or you're trying to share a part of your life, if you can speak in a declarative, sort of more of a statement, that's going to be much more powerful than a question. So if you say something like this, I've done a lot of research, I've listened to everything that you've said, and this is the approach that I suggest. That's a lot more powerful than, so I was thinking about this and maybe we could try this. What do you think? You've basically given away your power, and you've also kind of short-sighted whatever work you've done or whatever sort of thought process that you've done. So always let that person know that you are excited and you believe in yourself, and the courage is really that confidence coming out and saying, no, this is really what you need to do. Because when people come to you for advice, or if you want to have them buy into something, maybe you're trying to pitch an idea, pitch a product or something like that. I, as a consumer or as the person that might fund this idea, I really want to believe in you. But if you don't believe in you, I'm never going to. So that's really what this boils down to. It says courage, but it means confidence, and it's talking about all of the preparation prior to conversations. If you do your homework this month, nothing can stop you. I have one last thing that I'd like to talk about, which is if you are asking for a divorce, if you're talking about an illness that you're going through, or if you want to come out and say, I'm gay or whatever it is, do this because you love the person. Start it off by saying, you're my best friend, or as my parent, I know that you always have my back and you love me. Because of that, I want to share this with you so we can be closer. And don't ask permission, and don't ask if that's okay with them. Say, I need to know that you're there for me. So I'm telling you this, and I would really appreciate your support. That's a stronger statement than putting a question mark, because it lets the person know that you love them, that you're delivering it with that, and that it's a special exchange. Now, if it's a divorce, it can also be sort of through the lens of, we've tried everything, I care about you, let's do what's best, and I think this is what's best for me. So you can then open it up for conversation. I would even take I think out. Just say, I've thought this through, and this is the only solution I can see. So let's talk. So that's what you want to be, is really strong in your delivery. Take out the question marks, take out the hesitation, keep the power within, and let the person know that the fact that you are sharing whatever this sensitive information is means that they are someone that you really care about, that you really trust, and that you know that the two of you can work it out. Okay? That will make all the difference, and it's going to make you feel so strong, and you're going to have this big weight that is going to be lifted off your back. So I wish you all the best for those of you that have to go through some sort of a difficult communication. It will be better the minute it comes out. You're going to just feel like I'm a new person. Okay? So kind of working on that vein of confidence, we have the King of Wands at the center. And what I'm seeing with this is that if you're in a position of power, whether it's you leading your family, or you're a manager at work, or people just tend to lean on you for advice, what's important this month is that you have a clear vision for the people that are depending on you, and you also, as I said earlier, deliver what you're saying with clarity, with passion, with strength, taking out the hesitation in your voice, the sort of question marks that may be at the end of sentences. You want to just speak with full stops if you can. Leave room for people to speak, but as a strong manager and leader this month, one thing that's going to be really important for people around you is strength, clarity, and decisiveness. The other thing with this card, I love King of Wands. It's a card of ideation, and it's the ultimate ideation card because it's the top of the suit. So for many of you, this is like a CEO type energy. So even if you're not a CEO, what it's showing me is you have the power to really make anything happen this month with the follow-up, with the homework, with all of that you've kind of put together. But take care of yourself, because what we see here, even if you're a manager, even if you're a mother or father, we have the Two of Pentacles on top of this. So this is showing the ultimate management card, but this is saying make sure that you're managing what's important. In essence, the Two of Pentacles, the modifier on this, is saying for some of you, make sure that you complete all the things that you've agreed to do first. So any contracts or obligations or verbal exchanges where you said, yeah, I'll do that. Make sure you do it, because if not, that's going to come back and haunt you later this month. So yes, follow through on everything that you said you would do. Make sure that all the little stuff in your life, even the annoying things like paying the light bill and stuff like that, don't let anything slide. You've got to manage your life first. Then let other people come to you. And that also sets up a sort of a two-part strength in leadership. One is that you trust people to manage themselves, and two, that you're not going to take away power. You're not going to micromanage. Manage yourself, keep a bird's eye view of your life, and if you're in a company or a big family where you're the person that people go to, you want to make sure that you're not missing the big picture. That's where your power lies this month. That and being able to continue to evolve sort of the future ideas, because another example of like a King of Wands could be someone like, you know, the late Steve Jobs, who would be sitting there in his office thinking of new things. So make sure that you're trying to innovate and think beyond and do like a 3, 5, 10-year vision of what you want to do in your life, in your business, etc. Just remember this month to really honor the Two of Pentacles card that we just saw a moment ago. Avoid spreading yourself too thin. Don't overcommit yourself. Say no when it's appropriate and when you need to kind of draw boundaries, and really look at what you need to sacrifice for one thing in order to make another thing happen. Balance is necessary. That's what we see with the Two of Pentacles here. But as you see, there's also prioritization. It's not an even. It's not on an even field. It's sort of like, I got to do this, and then that gives a little bit. I'll do this, and that gives a little bit. So you're going to be playing that back and forth this month. And there is a little bit of a resource crunch for many of you, because looking in the recent past, we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. We have the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, and we have the King of Pentacles in reverse. All of those resources are still there, but they're going to need a little bit of finesse, and that's going to be what's key for many of you. All right, this is going to be a very big month for you, so I want you to get prepared. I think that's why we were talking about preparation, homework, being proactive, because you have three really big cards here in the deep past, the recent past, and the environment. The deep past, it's the World reversed. Recent past, Wheel of Fortune reversed. And then we have an upright Fool in the environment. Movement across the board. Let's start with the deep past. So the world, even if it was just occurring anywhere in the spread, would tell me it's time for change. It can be a change of job, a change of living situation. It can be travel or expanding a brand or presence on a global scale. So basically, no matter how you look at it, this is expansion, okay? The fact that it's reversed shows me that it's overdue, and that for some of you, there's also a general note to be more grounded and look at sort of what you've been doing foundationally in your life. Is it sustainable? For some of you, the spending habits or the expense of taxes or whatever is going on with the money situation, looks like you might need to make a shift there. So you might be inspired to get a better paying job, to refinance your house, to move so that you can maybe cash in on the investment that you have, and then maybe scale down a little bit so that you don't have so much overhead. The basic message that I'm seeing is that you're going to take control over your finances in one way, shape, or form, and get yourself so that you can get back into that period of growth. That's what it's all about, to bring in abundance. The other thing that I see is that for some of you, I feel like either because you're very kind and you wanted to let maybe someone else shine, or you were uncertain in the past because we had this courage card pop up, you might have missed a window of opportunity. We have the World reversed, we have the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Maybe you said no to a job, maybe it just didn't work out, the timing was wrong. This is going to change this month. But there's one component that's important for you to make peace with, and it's in the crowning position. With the Ten of Swords in the crowning position, this is really about forgiving yourself and forgiving others for whatever past mistakes or situations might have happened to you or to them or whatever. The Ten of Swords is the most critical of all the swords suit. It can mean an argument. It can mean a feeling of putting all of that criticism back into yourself and just feeling like you failed. Failure is essential to success. And I think sometimes we forget that. We call in all experiences, the highs and the lows. And when we have some of these disappointments, it's so that we have context with which we can appreciate the highs. So if you're in a point in your life where you've experienced the Ten of Swords, whether it's now or in the past, the one thing that you can really be grateful with that experience is, one, you're never going to forget the lesson that you learned. Two, when you reach a high, it's going to feel so good because you know what the reverse of that is. And three, you're going to be able to take that experience and have more empathy for other people that are going through it and maybe share that information with others. It's a really healing experience to go through some sort of a disappointment. And have you ever noticed in your life that sometimes people who have it too easy, they lack the empathy? And people who have been through all kinds of difficulty, they tend to be beautiful, resplendent, strong, sensitive people. Everything that you've been through made you exactly who you are today. You should be proud of that. You should wear that with courage. And that sense of confidence and forgiveness and strength is what's going to allow you to move forward. This is also a warning to not burn the candle at both ends. It's emphasized by the Two of Pentacles. Say no, don't overcommit, and just be really honest with yourself and others if there's something that you can't do. Speak up. That's going to avoid an argument, a disagreement, or failing at something. When we look at the body, the Ten of Swords can come through when we have done too much. So it can just be out and out fatigue that can lead to, as I say this actually, my throat is tightening up a little bit. So some of you might be having an issue with sore throat, or there could be something going on with an infection here in the lymph nodes. So take care of yourself because you don't want to have one part of your body break down. Normally with the Ten of Swords, it's also the back. It was interesting that I was feeling a little bit of a tightening here. So some of you are having some issues with that part of your body, the throat chakra, but the rest of you might be having issues with the back and the spine. And so this is a month where you want to be gentle with yourself. Sitting too much, compressing the spine, that's not good. For the rest of you, if there's anything that's going on where you are feeling pain in your body, get to a doctor. And if it's just aches and pains as well, make sure that you get a massage and you get ample rest. You have good bedding, like make sure your mattress is new and your pillows are new as well, because this all affects the posture of your spine and the compression of your spine as well. Again, see a doctor if there's any aches or pains, obviously, but I think a lot of this has to do with proper time management, saying no, and not overdoing things. Finally, with the Ten of Swords, this is not the month to start a lawsuit. If there's one that's already underway, do your best. There's a lot of cards here showing that you're going to be okay, but I wouldn't start something new this month with that. The reason that I say that is the Ten of Swords tends to be a very intense card when it comes to disagreements, and you're kind of going to air dirty laundry. So you need to do some healing first before you go into something like that. But with the Ten of Swords, there will be a resolution. Things will get done. It's just not always the prettiest exchange. And if you have to negotiate something this month, arbitration, mediation, anything where a third party can come in and sort of smooth out the wrinkles, that's going to be to your benefit. All right, on to some lighter energy here and some really good energy for you. As we look into the near future, we have the Eight of Pentacles. By far one of the best cards when it comes to thinking of investing in something, whether it's education, self-development, writing, developing a pitch, anything along that course of study or work. It can also be for those of you that are an artist and trying to build something. It can show that there's a lot of great energy associated with that creation. Whether or not you decide to sell it, it's the act of channeling and making something that you love that's really important. But with Eight of Pentacles, please, by all means, if you have something big that you want to say, this is a month to put it into action, put it into writing. So this is a good time for planning, for writing, for researching, and for going to school. All of those things are fantastic, and you're going to see a return on any energy that you spend in those places. Now with the card reversed, it's saying pay attention to the details. Don't take any shortcuts. This applies to everything in your life. So if you're trying to be healthy, make sure that you're not missing out on nutrition or sleep, or if you need to see a doctor for help, do that. If we're looking at something that you agreed to do it well. Do it 110%. Don't do 90% of this. Because those little shortcuts that you take, they're either going to exacerbate an underlying problem, or you're going to get caught, and then you're going to have to explain why you did it. So if you're going to serve up a time or cost-saving option, make sure that the person buys into it and say, I know we agreed to this, but if we do this, I can get it done 2 days earlier and under the budget. They may say, yeah, you know what, that's not that important. Perfect. Proactive communication is really important. Otherwise, you could regret doing that. So you have to be transparent, you have to be proactive, you have to be communicative. And that goes right back to what we've been saying. We really did see a lot of this come through. Your time management and your open communication, that's going to avoid arguments. The fact that the Ten of Swords is in the crowning position means that it doesn't have to be a reality. It's just showing that that energy could trickle into things. So you want to avoid exhaustion and you want to avoid any sort of argumentative stance. So by always letting that person know that you have their back and then showing them that this shortcut, it could be an advantageous thing for them, that's good. But for the rest of your life, particularly when it comes to money and health and planning, don't take shortcuts. Look at the details, get everything ironed out, and you'll be better for that work, okay? As we look at your ego this month, the King of Pentacles is a good card. The inverted form of this card, though, is showing sometimes there can be too much focus on yourself. I think for some of you, you need that focus if you're in a place where you need to heal. So by all means, take time off, do something for yourself, basically pamper yourself a little bit. That's a good element of that card. When we're looking at money, however, the fact that I see Wheel of Fortune reverse and Eight of Pentacles reverse is telling me, and they're kind of connected in the middle with the Two of Pentacles, you have to balance things out. So this may be a matter of, if you're a parent and you have children and they want to go on a vacation, they need new clothes, they need all these different things, you'll have to kind of manage when. You'll budget this stuff out. It can't be everything all at once. And this is a good lesson for them and for you. Spending needs to be tempered and it needs to be sort of spread out over time. I think you can still have what you want, but not everything at once. And this month in particular, because we have an elastic card and a card that shows a snap, I don't want your budget to snap, okay? So that's the main lesson that's coming in there. Now, you may also be experiencing someone in your life where it could be a partner, it could be an intimate friend, because it's showing up in your energy and in your ego, where they are not thinking of you. They could be really selfish or really kind of in their own zone, and you have to bring them out of that a little bit, or just don't invest too much in that energy this month, because this could take you off of your grounding, because we have a card that is earth-based reversed, and then we have a card that shows your foundation that's reversed, and it's the world. So this is why some of you have to kind of pick yourself up and think, I need more than this. And that is also what the King of Pentacles is saying. Don't take me for granted. And so if you've been in a situation where someone's constantly suppressed you, then I absolutely embrace and really encourage you to be the King of Pentacles in reverse, which is like, no, this is my time to shine. There are moments in our life where we have to be selfish. When we go to college and we're learning all of this stuff, when we, when we have to declare something important in our life, when we want to make a change, make a move. These are moments where we consider what we need and then we make that change. Then you can kind of pull the energy back out and think of others. But for some of you, there's a moment this month where you really have to heal yourself and do something for your own best good. Don't be afraid to do it. I think it's going to be good. In the environment, we have that freedom that I was talking about earlier. For some of you, this is just from speaking your truth. This is who I am. This is what I want. This is what's necessary. And the minute that these words spill out, you just feel this breath of fresh air that comes through, and that you can do anything. And the truth is you can. I feel like the world is waiting for you to speak up this month. You have to have the courage and have done the work to do it. But once you do that, everything starts to shift and new opportunities open up for you. So there's a little bit of risk, a little bit of a leap of faith. It's coming through in the environment, So again, a move for many of you. And it's eminent because we have the Eight of Pentacles, which I often associate with this month. So right here, right now, this is the time to take the action. All right, now I'm starting to see some people coming into your life. This could be where some of the relationship tension is coming. This can also be some aspects of your personality. So I'll look at it both ways. So in the opportunity space, we have a King of Swords in reverse. When it's you, this card is saying, don't be too critical in your thoughts about yourself. Don't drag your feet if there's something that you have to do, because this shows a slowing down of actions. And if there's someone in your life that is either outspoken to the point sometimes of being cruel or negative or can't support you, the fact that this is attached to the Fool means it's time to leave that. It's time to walk away. And if these are habits that you have, it's time to move on from those as well. So there's a little bit of, separation that's going to happen for some of you. The Ten of Swords and the Knight of Swords, these two energies are connected. And I think that when you let go of that negative speech or negative thought, whether it's your own or from someone else, that's going to be really key. The other thing that we want to look at in the outcome is the Knight of Cups in reverse. And the Knight of Cups is reminding you to not allow your sensitive nature to hold you back from something that you really need to go forward with, because this is in the outcome. So if you're afraid of failure, if someone has hurt your feelings and that's sort of making your energy go inward, don't do that. Don't dim your light is what I'm going to say. The other piece of this is take time to heal. I feel like some of you are in a place where you need a hug, you need some healing, you need some time to get back to you, whatever that is, whatever your normal is, whatever your baseline is. So take some time off. You're overworked, many of you, I can see that. If you have time that you can put on the calendar for vacation, do that. Even if it's a staycation, I think that there'd be a lot to be gained by that. Looking at these two as potential partnership cards, again, they're both a little tricky. With one, I see communication that could be better. With the other, I see emotions that are out of control. And so if the two of you are partnered up here, an air sign, a water sign, or again, just someone that is really verbal and someone that's really emotional, I think both of you need a little bit of time and separation to figure out who you are, what you want, and to do some requisite healing before you can get back together. And especially with cards like the World, the Wheel of Fortune, the Fool, and the Ten of Swords, I feel like there's a natural evolution happening in some relationships where you just feel it's time to move on. And that's okay too. Even though we sometimes say like, I'll love you until the end of time, things like that are very dangerous. It's important to think, I love you, I cherish you, and we're in this together. But to make this sort of declarative statement that you're never going to grow apart or that this relationship is going to last and last and last. Not always the case, especially if there's verbal abuse, physical abuse, arguments, or something's unhealthy. If that's the case, you are okay and you are supported. And in fact, it's going to be in your best interest to move on. And that's what can happen with the Ten of Swords. So if you're in a volatile relationship, whether it's a work relationship, a partnership, a friendship, or you're married, this is showing you that you have to do what's best for you. And that's what we saw with this, okay? So if you do all of this healing, what I'd like to focus on before we get into the expanded forecast are these two cards. They will flip to the positive. This is the investment in you, the schooling, the work that you're doing on yourself, and this is showing the empowerment that we were looking at in the catalyst. So I always like to show how to flip the cards, and that's really it. You have to invest in yourself this month. You have to think positively about who you are and what you can do. And you have to process the emotions. They're there for a reason. You can't sweep them under the rug. Let them come through, talk to someone, whether it's a friend or a professional, you're going to be better for that. And then move on. That's what the Wheel of Fortune and that's what the World are reversed for. They're encouraging you to go after that change that's just around the corner. All right, let's take a look now at health, wealth, love, and destiny, beginning with health. To me, this is a multifaceted card. We'll be looking at your mind, your body, and your spirit with it. So let's give the cards a shuffle and see what the message is for you. This echoes a lot of what we've seen here. It says new beginnings, and if we look in the environment, we actually have a card that is all about that, the Fool card. And deep past showing that it's been sort of an overdue shift for many of you. This is good news if you've been going through something difficult, whether it's emotional pain, physical pain, or a feeling of just being stuck. The Ten of Swords moment that some of you may have been going through is ready to dissipate. And this is showing you that, as I stated earlier, as you go through the shadow, this is a great time to plant new seeds for what you want to create in the months and years ahead. And the good news is the shadow is brief, a week to 2 weeks, and you can start to then see some progress there. I think what you want to look at this month when it comes to your health, your mind, body, and spirit, is to just start moving in the right direction. The Fool is all about just taking that first step, quite literally, and not being afraid of what comes ahead of you. You know, sometimes you want to be very conservative. This month, it's just about breaking through the barrier of fear and having the confidence, the courage, and the will to just sort of push forward. I think if you do that, you're going to notice a difference and you're going to feel better. You're going to feel like, I'm starting to make progress. You don't have to see it overnight. Just begin that journey, okay? Let's go ahead now and take a look at what's coming through for wealth and opportunities in the month ahead. The message in wealth is all about reaching higher, going beyond any blocks, and it says ascension, move into your true self, rise above the darkness, the light is there. You notice that this is a solar deity, or at least he's wearing a solar crown here. So for you, I really want you to focus on all of the potential, all of the positive energy. Invest in yourself, invest in your future. Flip these cards into the upright. Do something that you care about, that you're passionate about, and feel a sense of accomplishment as you begin the journey. Remembering, as I said, with health, it's also just about taking that first step, that step away from something negative into something fulfilling and honoring yourself, owning your strength. Anything that feels like it hasn't worked in the past, you're going to have a different energy available to you this month. The main challenge for many of you is flipping that light switch in your head to the positive. Once that happens, as easy as this sounds, you're going to start to notice that you're going to build momentum. It's going to start within, then you're going to notice around you that people pick up on that. So I encourage you to do the requisite healing, to work through any sort of sadness, self-doubt, critical thoughts that you might be having, and just believe in yourself. That's one thing that keeps coming through. So I'm going to let you know from what I'm seeing in the cards, I believe in you, and I see a really big shift coming in the areas of your general wealth and your health as well. This then spills over into your opportunity and the money and all of the situations that come through after that. So you're in a very good place this month to make change, and I see movement with your resources, okay? So good luck on that front. Remember to stay positive. That positivity is going to make the difference between staying in a stagnant sort of position and moving forward and welcoming in more abundance. And that's really what it's all about at the end of the day. Just remember again, as we looked at earlier, that there is a balance that's necessary. And by not overcommitting yourself, that's going to be key to allowing yourself for that healing and growth, okay? Now let's take a look at love and see what's coming through for relationships and also just your general emotional state, since we saw that many of you may be in a place where it's a little bit delicate this month. So we'll give the cards a shuffle and see what the advice is. We have an interesting connection between work and love this month. It says, trust your feelings and your dreams to guide you on your career path. The overarching word and message is trust, but there's some sort of a connection between love and your money. So on a very sort of surface level, this could mean that you could get a job lead from someone that you love. There may be some discussions if you have a partner about who should be doing what with their finances or career. So maybe one of you has a chance for advancement or movement, but because you're in a relationship, you have to sort of check that with your partner. Basically, clear and clean up things when it comes to money and love this month. If there's something that's coming between you and a person that you care about, it could be a debt or a promise that you made. As I said earlier, these things are going to come back this month. So you want to fix it, you want to make everything even and make sure that that person's okay with where you're at and what you owe them. You could also meet someone at an inconvenient time or place, like the workplace. So, this could be a month where you meet a client or a coworker and there's feelings on one side or the other. Trust yourself, but remember it's important to be honest and communicative. That's basically what this proactive card was about. If a work romance does come to fruition, then you might also need to check with human resources, because this is something where you want to be really careful about details, about regulations. You don't want that to be something that catches up with you. Ultimately, I like that we see trust here. It's showing that you're either going to gain trust in existing relationships, or you're going to fix what is broken when it comes to trust, or again, money that may have broken down the trust, money agreements, or somehow contributions. This is the month to bring everything into balance. That's what we were seeing here, give and take. And when that happens, then suddenly the relationship grows stronger. All right, let's look now at your Destiny card. Destiny is really more of an internal gut check to see if you're happy on the path that you're on, if there's any advice on how you can shift or move, if that's something you want to do. And as we saw in the deep past, the recent past, and the environment, some of you are in the middle or maybe just at the very beginning of that move. So I want to help you out with that as we look at Destiny. So as we see here in your Destiny card, movement is coming through for you. We have wind, which is all about thoughts. It can also be communication. And we see movement happening, activation. But it does involve movement and decisive motion on your part as well. And one thing that's necessary as we look at this, all of your movement cards this month are reversed. I wouldn't worry so much about this because, again, we're in that retrograde shadow, so it's normal for there to be a little bit of turbulence or a little bit of friction. But the areas that you want to focus on to flip this activation card into the upright position are as follows. Again, looking in your deep past, what has been holding you back in the past few months, weeks, or even the past year? It's time now to go with that internal flow. So if you felt like you needed to leave your job or you needed to get into something new, make that change, make that movement happen this month. The same thing is going on with your finances and your work situation. The Wheel of Fortune is reversed, so it's time to no longer kind of swim upstream. You want to go with the sort of momentum and with your intention and your heart this month. And as we looked at how you can do this, is just by taking a single step in the direction that you want to go into, because we have the Fool card here. So the courage to move and the action of movement, this is going to be enough to start to move you forward. I look at this and I can't help to think that talking to someone will also help. So whether that's a financial advisor, a therapist, a good friend, or a mentor, please feel free to do that as well this month. Everything wants to start to shift into a much more abundant phase for you right now, particularly with the Eight of Pentacles in the near future. So don't fight it, allow it to go through. Trust yourself. When I see trust here in that heart-centric love area, that also means love yourself, love what you're doing, and trust that you have what it takes to bring other people into your fold and have them see you as a person of value as well. So if you do that, I feel like you're going to be headed on the right track, and it does seem like easier roads are ahead of you than there might be right now. So please embrace that change. I feel like it's well-deserved. And if you can just sort of like forgive yourself and think to yourself each morning, today can be easier, this month can be easier, I'm now ready for the change that wants to come through, then I feel like that will become a reality. Okay? Let's go ahead now and review everything that we talked about, and then I'll leave you with a closing word. Remember this month to be proactive. Time management and communication are very important. They're going to help you really bring in more abundance in your life and also avoid potential arguments or miscommunications. Courage, confidence, and really being able to get that momentum started. It's all going to begin with the homework. We talked about this earlier, all the preparation, so that as you get ready to talk to someone about something big in your life, whether it's an announcement, giving notice, getting divorced, or again, starting something brand new and exciting, it has to come from a heart-centric place. knowing that you've thought it through, that you're doing it for the right reasons, and that you're also kind of coming forward with a declarative statement. All of these things are going to be really important in, again, getting that needle in the right direction. You're well situated this month to manage anything that's coming your way. The King of Wands is perfect for that. Just remember not to overcommit, not to stretch yourself too thin, and we see that again in the crowning position about not burning the candle at both ends. For many of you, I feel like there's this sort of latent move that has been waiting and wanting to come through, but it's almost been waiting for you to be okay with that moment of freedom or that decision. This is the month where you could pull the trigger and then see something move here, because we have the World reversed, the Wheel of Fortune reversed, and the Fool card in the upright position, which is actually showing that there is a breakthrough coming here. With the World reversed, remember this month to focus on getting more stable in your life, being grounded, and I think some of this comes from not kind of being involved in everything and everyone and all their business. And that's one thing that we saw with the Two of Pentacles, was wait to be asked for certain things. Keep your eyes on the bird's eye view of what's going on, and that's going to help you with your time, energy, and money management. And that's really the central theme that we see with Wheel of Fortune, Two of Pentacles, and Eight of Pentacles. Put the money, the time, the energy in yourself this month. Self-development is a really good thing, and it leads to the freedom that wants to come through. Don't beat yourself up over past failures or misses. Don't get into unnecessary arguments or disputes. Use an arbitration or mediation opportunity if that exists. And when you need to get personal help when it comes to healing or working through any sort of issues with your body or even your emotions this month, please allow that to happen. Speaking of emotions, that's the one thing that can kind of hold you back on this momentum. So I want you to try to release any sadness or pain and work on focusing on the positive, something that we saw here as we were looking at the expanded forecast. When it comes to money this month, I think you have the resources you need. It's just better management. That's the main message. Don't be afraid to get out and to do some light exercise, by the way. The Fool card is all about walking, and so low impact cardiovascular exercise is great. As with any sort of change in activity, you always want to work with your doctor, but definitely think that walking could be a good addition if that's approved by your doctor. There's a slowdown happening for some of you this month, and that's kind of caused by two things. Some of it could be negative thoughts, some of it could be just overall emotional state. So once you work at reprogramming those two things, you start to see a shift and you start to see momentum pick up. When we look at your health, new beginnings, this is a chance for you to hit the reset, not to look so much on what's wrong or what hasn't worked, but what you can change. And it's all about possibilities. That extends into your wealth. We see ascension, rising above, setting a new bar, getting to something that you really love. It's all about growth. Stay on the positive, as we see here with the sort of solar crown that this particular figure is wearing. As we look into relationships, it's interesting because there is a financial or a work overlap for many of you. And no matter what, you have to trust yourself, trust your partner, trust the people that you're doing business with. And if there is an overlap, or if you do meet someone at a place of work, make sure that you're doing so with the blessing of your work, your boss, the policies there. Otherwise, you need to think about what the repercussions could be. Finally, and most importantly, this is sort of like the wind in your sails this month. You have the ability to activate and to push things forward, but it does take a change of mind, and it takes some action on your part. That actually might be communication, and positive communication, as we see here, a little bit of a reprogramming. Once that happens, once you speak up for yourself, once you have the courage to make the changes that you need, then everything in your life shifts, and you can really enjoy and reap the rewards of the Eight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. So this brings your monthly reading to a close, but I hope that you gained all the insights that you needed to make that paradigm shift really that I'm seeing here for you. Before we get to the closing word, I'd like to remind you that if you ever want to talk a little bit more about something that we discussed today, or if there's a big change going on in your life and you would like to check in with me, you can do that. You can click on the first card or the first link below the video. This will connect you to my booking site where you can look at rates and availability. And if that makes sense for you, then I look forward to chatting with you. Otherwise, as I said earlier, this is all fan supported here. So if you like what you see, I ask for you to consider giving back. And there's a lot of ways you can do that. If you click on the second card or the second link, this will take you to a page on my site that walks through how you can become a patron. The first way is by joining me on Patreon. You can also give a one-time contribution or even a continuing contribution through my website. And now I have a join button here on YouTube as well. All of these will help me not only buy supplies like the cards that I was using today, but they also help me carve out the time that I need on my calendar. I work just like you, and in order to set aside the 12 days that it takes to do this, I need contributions so that I don't have to book my calendar up solid. So if you'd like to make a difference today, I just want to say thank you for clicking that button. If you've done so in the past, I dedicate this video to you. You've made it all possible. Finally, for those of you that have either contributed in the past or just want to help out in a different way, if you click on the third card or third link, this will help you connect to my different social media accounts. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I also have a newsletter, which is a great way to find out when I post the videos. So please feel free to join me on those networks. And more importantly, please share this content with all of your followers, because whenever you do that act of kindness, it helps me connect with more people. And that's really the reason I show up each and every month. I want to cast a nice wide net and help as many people as possible. So thank you so much for doing that. Now let's get to your closing word for this month. And I'm really looking at this activation card at the end here. This to me reminds me of what you would see with a boat, and it's like you're ready to set sail. There's just those two components, the belief in yourself, which we saw here with the courage and the confidence message, and then also that ability to simply take the first step. And sometimes that's the hardest thing, whether it's a phone call, an email, or simply like walking out of something and saying, I don't know what's next, but I know I can't do this anymore. Something has to give this month in order for the movement to happen. By the way, with that Eight of Pentacles, this shows power in the written word. So for some of you that could be writing, for some of you it could be a text or an email that could change your future. So that could be the first step that you take, is throwing out a lifeline and saying, hey, I need help, or sending a resume or CV to someone, or doing something that through your written sort of language or a contract, you're going to be embarking on something brand new. So I would just like to end by saying thank you so much. You have a lot of choices both here on YouTube and also in life. So the fact that you spent the last 50 or so minutes with me, it means a lot. Remember to be kind to yourself, to be kind to others, and to go after your dream this month. Until we meet again, much love and light.